Check this out, folks. 19th of February. It's looking lovely, and therefore I better go out for a ride, isn't it? Hi folks, Ricky Tang here. How's it going? And it's a perfect day for a very early season ride. I've got to tell you that I haven't actually refilled the tank yet since the first fill up. That goes to show how few miles I've done on this bike. You might remember I was getting quite excited about the possibility of a 300-mile range on this bike, or maybe 280 or something like that. But as I suspected, that's not quite what we're getting in reality. I need to fill up today really, because I got a range estimation of 36 miles and the trip meter showing 208 miles. So, oh great, does do that sometimes, does stall sometimes. Yeah, range under 250 really, I think. Well, just about 250, which is to, you know, to a 50-20 moment where you're not sure whether you're going to make it to the petrol station. I'd rather not push it that far. But a range of over 200 miles before you have to start worrying about a petrol station, as long as you're not too far between petrol stations, that is. I still think that's a pretty damn good range. I've got to say, I am grateful for this garage, BP, at the bottom of Barnwood Road in Gloucester, for allowing me to fill up without even mentioning crash helmets or having to take them off or uncovering your face. It's not always the case nowadays. My plan today is to ride all three of my motorbikes, starting with the smallest, the Kawasaki Versys X300. So my intention is to do a couple of hours on each bike, and that'll give me a chance to talk to you lovely folks about my plans on each of these bikes this year. Not that I have many, and that's another thing I've got to talk to you about. And that's the thing, I haven't actually made any bookings yet in terms of things to do this year. What are the things I want to do? Well, more track days, obviously, more off-road days. I never did one of those IAM or Road Smart things last year, basically because I'm a little bit scared of what an instructor will say to me about my road riding. That's the truth of it. It's the kind of thing that's put me off actually doing one of those, but I'll try and do one of those this year, I think. What else? And I want, I think I want a riding holiday. I want to go, I suspect it might just be Scotland. Sorry, I say just. I've been looking at some of the videos from Teapot One and Richie Vida. The roads are beautiful up there. It's just that I don't think I'll take any pleasure in riding in bad weather, and that's the risk with riding up north. And I also want a riding holiday, so I think my plan is to save up my pennies, and in winter next year, or winter this year, sorry, maybe December time, go somewhere like Portugal, somewhere warm with beautiful roads. But it'd be one of those, you know, Canary Motorcycle Tour, Taro Adventure type things, I reckon. Never done anything of the sort before, like a group tour, a group riding trip. So I think that would be a very interesting thing to do. 7,000 RPM cruising at 65 miles an hour. Well, this bike is just something you have to live with. If you're going to do some motorway, highway, dual carriageway type riding, you just have to accept that there's going to be a lot of revs going on. Kind of put it out your mind. It's the reason, one of the reasons why I don't want a loud exhaust on this bike. It'll make quite a racket, I think, this bike with a loud exhaust, even at you know, very sane speeds. And I think it'll annoy me, let alone the people I'm riding past at 7,000 RPM, 9,000 RPM. So yeah, I'm not looking to make the bike any louder. 6th gear, overtake, is overtake on. Oh, that's a lot of throttle creeping past. Lovely. So one of the main reasons I bought this bike really was to slow down, not ride so fast on the roads, slow down and enjoy the scenery, enjoy where I am, rather than just concentrate on riding the roads. I've got to admit that I haven't really managed to achieve that on this bike. I'm still riding it, when I do ride it, still ride it relatively hard. So on this ride today, because I'm not going to be out for long, I'm also not going to do very many miles. Meaning I'll just be riding relatively slow, bimble around, hope I won't hold anybody up, and enjoy the sunshine. I want to take this bike, you know, off-road and do a little bit of gentle green laning. I did go up about a 200-meter long kind of muddy trail on this bike a couple of weeks ago. Didn't film it, or at least I didn't film it very well, but anyway, you're not going to see it. And it was fun, even though it was, you know, I was riding up this track for like 2 minutes or less. I think it probably was less. It's so nice to be off-road, somewhere there where traffic doesn't normally go. And it was an enjoyable little spin. Talking of spin, the back tyre was spinning quite a lot, and I think I realised that these Metzler Tourance tyres, well, I suppose like a lot of tyres really, aren't good in muddy circumstances when there's lots of wet leaves around and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think, well, I'm not sure what sort of ratio these tyres are. I imagine they're 80-20 road biased, so I'm thinking of, you know, maybe 70-30 sort of thing, not 50-50. I'm not going to use the bike off-road that much, but I think if I do get off the road at this time of the year, like H1, first half of the year in this country, you will be encountering mud, I think, rather often. Earlier on I talked about perhaps taking a trip to Scotland this year, or at least doing some sort of long riding trip this year, and I think I'm going to do it on this bike, believe it or not. I mean, I got the BMW obviously, but I did a big tour on that last year, which you haven't seen. I haven't put a video together of that, and I probably will at some point. And as much as I enjoyed riding the BMW on my little trip north last year, especially the track day at the beginning of that journey, this is the only bike I've got with a fairing, so I think I'd like to do a journey on a bike with a fairing for a change. Plus, I really am enjoying how light this bike is, especially in comparison to the BMW. You know, it can do all the journeying, all the miles that the BM can, but with the advantage of when the engine's not running, you need to kind of maneuver the bike and just push it around. It's just lighter, it's just easier, and I'm a weakling. So a couple of bikes prior to the BMW R1250R that I've got, I had a Suzuki 1250 Bandit, and yeah, the weight just got to me in the end. And the truth is, the BMW isn't much lighter. It's a bit lighter, it's noticeable, but not a lot lighter. And so the idea of doing a tour, or just, you know, just riding somewhere on this really lightweight bike, I can still do all the miles, that appeals to me. So I think that's worth a try. So that's another reason why I don't want to go for tyres that are too off-road biased. In terms of adding accessories, to be honest with you, the bike doesn't need much, the old Kawasaki. But one thing I need to do something about is this screen with this flip up on top. It just wobbles around too much, and that's probably not doing good things for wind noise and buffeting, and it's not doing a good thing for the camera trying to look through the screen at the front there. Mind you, what I could do maybe is just replace the OEM screen with a screen that hopefully I find is somehow built stronger, that resists the flexing, because this is just so rubbish, really bendy. So maybe there's a replacement screen that is tougher than the OEM screen, and I can still use the flip up. My Insta360 camera, which I can't really see, I can't hear. The crash helmet needs to come off really. Little look at the Kawi before we set off. Good bike, really am enjoying this. So let's try and swing it out. Hopefully without turning it off. I've got no idea whether it's still running. I think I mentioned on the last ride I've loosened the preload off now on the back tyre to 1 above the minimum setting. And that does feel, yeah, a good bit more comfortable now. Less firm. But it's still a relatively firm ride, especially at the front. It's not a dirt bike, basically. It's a road bike with yeah, reasonably firm suspension. Right, I've actually let those cars ahead of me go, but there's no one behind me, so I'm not slowing anybody up. As you can see in the 360 camera, if it's still running. That's the nice thing about having a 360 camera. You don't have to point it anywhere. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Oh my god, my number plate says EEZ on the back. Nice and easy. I think I'll have to get a number plate made up with that on. Or easy does it. Right, sun over. Let's get back home. And we'll take out the next bike. Woo! Right, see you on the Honda. And just like that, we're on the Honda Bros. Hello again. Now, I've got to admit, getting on this bike from the other bike has taken about half an hour more than I had hoped. This Honda's not very well today. Well, it's not been very well since the last time I rode it. I have some electrical problems. So basically I got some bad connections inside the headlamp shell, which I basically knew about last time I rode the bike and I have not done anything about, because I'm an idiot. But anyway, the contrast from going from my Kawasaki Versys to this, it is stark. For starters, the rear suspension, you may remember I've loosened off the preload. I think it's too loose really. The back end sinks quite a bit. Yeah, the Kawasaki was quite firm. Well, very firm in comparison to what I'm riding now. And the leg angle, wow. On the Kawasaki, it's quite a spaced out riding position, quite a roomy riding position. On this one, it feels like my knees are nearly around my ears. It's really quite acute for the leg angle. If I had 30-inch legs or 28-inch legs, I think I wouldn't have any complaints, but a 32-inch inside leg does feel quite cramped. I think wind blast is going to be an issue on this ride. For some reason I got a lot of wind noise. Well, I think it's because I'm on a naked bike as opposed to the Kawasaki. So I think it would benefit me to ride this bike slowly as well, just so you can hear what I'm saying. But that'll come later. This bike feels so content, so relaxed when we're just here at Tickover. I'm trying to ask myself, why is it so loud inside my crash helmet? And it's just because I think the Kawasaki screen and fairing just actually keeps more wind off me than I realised or than I appreciated. And my legs certainly feel, my tops of my legs certainly feel colder now on the naked bike versus the Kawasaki as well. But what else am I going to do with this bike? Well, other than look at the electrics, I don't think there's a lot I can do. Or there's not a lot that I want to do. What I would love to do is have a brand new engine inside there. It revs nicely, I think. but vibrates a lot at the high revs, and I just think that's a sign of an engine where things are rather worn out. But a new engine probably costs at least £500, if not £1,000. The other option would be a strip, inspect and rebuild. Well, that probably cost, well, hundreds of pounds for an expert to do it, and I wouldn't trust myself to do it. No way. Yeah, and I think with that money, I think I'd rather spend it on the other bikes than this one. This one is doing what I hoped of it when I first bought it for £600 back in the day. It's as good as it needs to be, I think. Just have to accept it for what it is, the age it is, the condition it's in, and enjoy it. And I love the grunt on this engine. Don't know how it does it. Time to give this bike a little thrash down the road. Uh-oh. Oh, that's me, hopefully. Oh, woo! I just went on to reserve. No fuel light on here, you know, no fuel gauge. There's just the petrol tap with on, off and reserve. Actually, I forgot on this bike, I've actually gone up one tooth on the front sprocket. I think it's from 14 to... I can't remember now. I think it's 14 to 15. For the bike to be a bit more long-legged. That's worked really well. I won't tell you what speed I saw on the speedo earlier on, but I was quite surprised that I saw it going into 5th. So other than sorting the electrics out, adding a power supply, I think, for a camera, and possibly raising the back end up a little bit. Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's much else that needs to happen to this bike. I just need to enjoy it. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop the 360 camera. When you next see me, I'll be out on the big beamer. So, see you in a bit. Welcome to the BMW R1250R. And I've done about a third of a mile, maybe a quarter of a mile, and already this bike feels clearly like the best of the bunch. So much grunt, so smooth, feels fantastic, and feels really tall in the seat. Now that's partly because I've just been on the Honda, and that feels like it's got a seat height of about 27 inches. This is more like 32. It's a lot higher. Okay, yeah, this is just as bad as the Honda. I think I've been really spoiled by the Kawasaki, you know. God, it's weird how this bike feels stiff or firm, but gives you kind of a quality ride at the same time compared to the last two bikes. It does feel like another level of sophistication on this bike. Oh, you can't be surprised either, but I'm glad I own it. And hill hold, I've been missing hill hold on the other two bikes. Hill hold's amazing. Even on this slight incline here, it just holds the bike. You don't have to try and hold it on your leg or try and keep a brake on while you're just adjusting stuff. Really, really helpful. Have a little walk around. Make sure all the lights are on the back. Yeah, they're on at the back, alright. All the lights on at the front. Yeah, I think we can say the lights are on at the front. Unfortunately, they might be flashing on camera, which I can't do much about. I have a plan though, which includes a GoPro and a set of ND filters. God, this bike. Super Duke R is also amazing. That, as I understand it, will vibrate a lot more than this. And I love this power with smoothness. It's not perfectly smooth, this bike at all, but it is pretty smooth for a big torquey twin. And compared to the Super Venture S that I've ridden, this is a lot smoother. I did not like the vibration on that Super Venture S. I don't know if the latest evolution of the Super Duke that's been around for a year or so now is any smoother, but I suspect it isn't. From what I've seen on the internet, it isn't particularly smooth, and I don't want it. I'd like the power, but I don't want the vibration. And this has got, I don't know, it hasn't got the power of a Super Duke. We know this, and the Super Duke's lighter, but this has got the smoothness and a lot of power. I just love it for that. And shaft drive, not forgetting the shaft drive. That's where there's no other sport bike apart from maybe the Moto Guzzi, but this bike, its engine is 200cc bigger. It's like 20% bigger than the Moto Guzzi, and I don't think that Mandela's going to be able to match this bike for torque. They weigh almost the same as well, which rather disappointed me. I was hoping that the new Guzzi would be lighter than it is for 1000cc, and if they ever bump it up to 1200, that would make me interested, but they'll probably add another 10 kilos, which will immediately turn me off. Well, I think that kind of makes my mind up, makes your mind up about what, Rich, you may ask. I think my next bike's going to have a fairing. Which that brings that Moto Guzzi back into my mind. But I just don't think that Guzzi's quite got the guts that I'm looking for in a big bike. Straighten out for the bridge. There you go. Nice little view there. I've done it. I've done all three bikes on the road in one day. We wanted to do that for a long time now, and it's done. 10 degrees now, Celsius. At least that's not Fahrenheit, but it's pretty fresh. So let's head home. Ooh, actual Ferrari. Okay, this is his chance. He's ready. He's ready. Can you hear it? Probably can't. He's ready to fly. Three is the magic number. Well, I say that, I do have half a bike as well in the form of my mini moto, and I've got to say, I have been thinking about the idea of having a basically a track bike, because as much fun as I'm having on this BM on track, it's far from the ideal choice. So maybe I might have to move to 4.5 bikes one day. So yes, out of all 3 bikes, I've enjoyed riding this one the most, can't deny it. But the Honda, the way it performs, the way it delivers its torque for such an old, worn out bike, still performs well and still surprises me. So I enjoy that aspect of the bike. Not so much the riding position. The Kawasaki, excellent fun as well. You know, that's hopefully going to help me slow down on the road more often. It was semi-successful today, and just the potential of going off-road. Really glad I've got that bike for that possibility. Just have to make it happen this year. Then this bike, oh, it's so much fun to ride. It's unflappable pretty much. It's really stable but really fast. Sounds ridiculous. I was going to say amazing. I think ridiculous is a better description. It does everything I want it to do, apart from be light. It can't do that. I have now on the clock 10,800 miles and about 11,000 miles. Now according to my PCP schedule at this point, I should be at 8,000 miles. And I shouldn't really be reaching 12,000 miles until next March. And I don't know what I'm going to do with this bike, but if I'm going to sell it back to them, back to BMW, or they're going to buy it off me, if they want it, that is, I might have to stop doing so many miles. Luckily for me, I've got 2 other bikes to ride. Share the load, especially the Kawasaki. Right, it's getting dark. We're getting back into the boring bit of Gloucester. So thanks for hanging out with me. Hopefully some of my footage has been enjoyable, nice to watch. If you've got any comments on any of the 3 bikes I own, look forward to hearing from you down below, down there. So until the next video folks, take care of yourselves and each other. Okay folks, until the next video, take care of yourselves and of each other. Right, I'm out. Laters.